Hey everyone, and welcome to the Balanced Bodies Blueprint. I am your host, Vinny Russo.
And I'm your co-host, Dr. Eryn Stansfield.
And we're shifting gears from all the conventional fitness narrative you hear on most fitness podcasts, as our main emphasis lies in preventative healthcare, adopting a holistic approach to nutrition, and challenging the traditional views on various fitness topics.
Our mission with this podcast is to provide you with the information you need to achieve optimal health.
On today's podcast, I am going to be doing a solo episode, and I'm going to be talking about something that comes up every year, which is dealing with holidays. In particular, this holiday, we're going to be focusing on Thanksgiving since it's popping out on Thursday this week. So I recently put out an Instagram post that got a decent amount of traction and a lot of shares, actually. So I feel like it resonates with a lot of people. And I'll just read what it says. It says, "Everyone's out here worried sick about Thanksgiving ruining their progress," in quotes. And I basically say, shut the fuck up. Like, enjoy this time with your family. Enjoy this time with your friends. If you overindulge, own it and commit to getting back on track the next day. Don't have any guilt. Don't have any shame. It's only just one day. And when we look at holidays, we want to see this as a time to celebrate, a time to connect, a time to basically enjoy all the traditions that we actually love and that we get nostalgia from. But I have to be honest when I say that it is a tough part of the year where you want to try to stay on track with your health and fitness goals. And I totally get it, because there's a lot of events that pop up, especially from Thanksgiving to New Year's Eve. Like, that time in between is going to be packed with things to do, packed with things that are going to consist of, having things that normally wouldn't be on a diet plan. Should you restrain from all of it? I say no, but there needs to be some mindfulness going into certain situations. But when it comes to the actual holiday, with this podcast, I want to try to rewrite the narrative, and I want you to enjoy the holidays without guilt, but you still feel in control and you still feel aligned with the goals that you have in place. Okay. So the way that I want to do that is I just want to go into some basic tips, some basic tricks on what to do. If anything, use this as some type of skeleton to work off of. You could create your own tips and tricks, whatever it is. Use this as a foundation. Okay. Just always keep in mind that when we talk about holidays, they're meant to be enjoyed. They're about your family. They're about your friends. They're about making memories. So if you do happen to overindulge, my advice to you would be to own it. Understand that you made that decision and it's okay. It's just one day of the week. It's not an entire week. It's not a month. It's just one day. So if you enjoy yourself just a little bit too much during that Thanksgiving dinner, just commit to getting back on track the very next day. Don't carry the leftovers over. Don't take a doggy bag home with you. And don't feel bad, right? Don't have any guilt. Don't have any shame. Because the main thing that's going to matter is going to be the consistency over time. It's not about perfection on a day-to-day basis. It's about how consistent can you be over the entire year. And if you have a day off because it's a holiday, so what, right? So let's get into what you can actually utilize, right? What you can actually apply to help you with not only still having a quality of life with this holiday, but also keeping it waste-friendly to an extent. Okay, there's some few things that you could do. I know some people get really, really overwhelmed and obsessed with this. So I do want to give those tips just in case. Otherwise, it's like, hey, man, just practice your mindfulness, stay active, and own what you do, and then just get back on track. Right? But for those of you that are like, well, I want to take that extra step just in case, then here are going to be some tips for you. All right. So the first thing I could say is make sure you fiber up, right? Because when you load up on high fiber foods, especially if you do this early in the day, it's going to keep you pretty satiated. And you're going to feel full for a longer period of time. And it also helps with stabilizing blood sugar. So if you have this big meal coming up and you're like, I'm not going to eat until that meal because I'm going to bank calories, it's not a bad decision, but then you're going to go in ravishing all of that food. But if you have some fiber beforehand, you have some protein beforehand, you're going to feel a little bit satiated and you might not overindulge during that big meal. So my big thing here is make sure that you eat a ton of fiber. And that's one of the best things to do is raw vegetables. Snack on the raw vegetables. Another thing that most people don't do, but they actually know of, is the 10-minute rule. And the 10-minute rule deals with giving your body some time to understand that it has just eaten. So after you finish your first big plate of food, so go up there, grab everything you want. After you finish that big first plate of food, I want you to wait 10 minutes before you actually go back up to grab seconds, because your body needs to register what just went on, right? It needs to take in, it needs to understand that it's just eaten. It needs to let you know whether you're actually full or not. So this little pause can actually save you from overindulging, because after 10 minutes, you might be like, I'm not even hungry. Let me wait till dessert. Most people just kind of finish the food and they have the food around them, so they're just reaching for seconds. One of my favorite things to do is actually to get up from the table and walk around. And whether that's going to walk to the fridge, to grab a bottle of water, ask if anybody needs drinks, throw out some garbage, whatever it is. Get away from the table, 5 to 10 minutes. You could even go outside for a walk. So if you walk after your meal too, that's not only you staying active during the day, but it's also helping with your digestion of that quick meal, that big meal. But it's also helping with blood sugar control too. And you're getting your steps in. So you could actually do that too. You could do like a 5 to 10 minute walk after that first plate. And then if you're still hungry, go up for seconds. No one's leaving the dinner table. You'll be fine. If you just say, hey, you need to go get some fresh air, I'm pretty sure no one's going to give you shit for it. So the 10-minute rule, I feel like, is a pretty damn good game changer. So make sure you utilize that. And then another quick tip is to stay hydrated. So a lot of times we think that we mistake hunger for thirst. So have water right in the morning when you get up. Maybe throw some salt in there. Start with the cellular hydration right off the bat. And just keep drinking water throughout the day. It's going to not only help you feel full, but you won't mistake that thirst for hunger, which means you might actually eat a little bit less than what you normally would have eaten. Now, some tips when you actually go and sit down at the table, there's a few things that you want to do, and there's 3 of them that I want to go over to help you make smarter choices without feeling deprived. One of the main things is going to be have the sauces all on the side, right? Try not to grab anything that's loaded up with gravy. Hopefully your family has gravy dishes and things and stuff like that to keep everything on the side. But this is a really good way to enjoy all the flavors without actually adding unnecessary calories to your day. So if you want to have a little gravy over your mashed potatoes, great. Then you pour it on there and have a little taste of it. If you want to have a salad, they have a big salad. The dressing's on the side, you get to put it on. Someone else isn't doing it for you. So you could literally have some control here and some autonomy with how many calories you're putting into your body. So even if you just tell whoever's cooking these meals, like if there's a way to have those dressings and sauces on the side, I'm pretty sure they'll accommodate you. And if you're cooking and doing it, do the same thing for them. The next thing, when you're sitting down at the table, and this is pretty important, and I think this gets overlooked, is focus on the dishes that you actually really, really love, that you enjoy, and skip over the stuff that you don't really care that much about. So for example, I love the meats. I love stuffing. Like that's my favorite. That's my favorite dish at Thanksgiving is stuffing. Even over the meats, it's stuffing is number one. So I'm going to load up on the meats and on the stuffing, probably some vegetables as well. I do not care about sweet potato casserole. I don't care about it at all. I will not even touch it. Just don't even bring it by me. Even mashed potatoes, I'm not a huge fan of them, so I'm not even going to eat them. Do I like them? Yeah, they're all right, but I'm not. I'd rather eat more stuffing and more turkey. So I'm going to stick with the stuff that I love, and not feel obligated to eat the other stuff on the table just because it's there. You don't have to do that. Stick with what you love, and it'll keep it simple for you too. And then also while you're at the table, I mentioned a little bit of this earlier. Having your protein and vegetables first, right? So protein and vegetables help with satiation. And when you want to feel most satiated, you want to eat the most nutrient-dense foods on your plate, right? And that's going to be lean protein and vegetables. And they take a while to break down. So when it comes down to it, I think this is a really good strategy to help you fill up on the good stuff before you start moving over to those heavier options that are very calorically dense and highly palatable. So it's almost like you're filling up on the stuff that you actually want to be in your body. And then whatever room you have left, you leave for the other stuff that you're not too fond of throwing down the hatch to just sit on your waist, if that makes sense. So those were 3 quick tips that I want you to do when you sit down at the table. Sauces on the side, look at the plates that are available and pick just what you love and really stick to that so you really enjoy it, and try to have those protein and vegetables first. There is no order of eating, right? I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that if you load up with protein and vegetables first, it's hard to fit that other stuff on top and fill you out. You might get full with the protein and vegetables before throwing the very calorically dense stuff on top, is what I'm saying. My next big tip, and this goes out, this is a staple for any holiday, any vacation, anything that you are out of your environment and it's out of the norm for you, and you are on a plan, or you are just very conscious about your overall health and fitness. It is to stay active throughout the entire day. So one of the best things you could do with Thanksgiving, I know they have football on, stay active, right? After all your feedings, like my family, we usually do like appetizers, and then dinner, and then dessert, right? So like pickings, dinner, dessert. After the pickings, go for a 10 to 15 minute walk, right? Go with your family, have some conversation. After the main meal, same thing, 10 to 15 minute walk. After dessert, same thing, 10 to 15 minute walk. Just keep your body moving. It's great for digestion, helps regulate blood sugar, and you get your steps in, right? But it doesn't have to be with walks. You can make it fun. You could play catch with the football, with baseballs, whatever. You can play catch in the yard, run around with the kids, chase them around. Put on some holiday music. Start dancing. Get people up. Get people moving. Just keep your body in motion. That's what we want, right? We don't want you just, eating and sitting in a lounge chair, falling asleep, get up, go eat dinner, fall back asleep, get up, go eat dessert, fall back asleep. We don't want that. We want to keep our body moving, right? And the more people you can engage, let's just say you have a ton of family and friends at your house, or you're at someone else's house, the more you can engage them in doing it, the more fun it's going to be. And plus, the people will probably appreciate it in the long run with what you're doing and trying to get everybody moving and communicating and talking and just being together. So when we actually think about the holidays, just remember, it's about connection. It's not just about the food, okay? So prioritize the people around you. Savor the moments that you're sharing. You don't know how many moments and memories you're going to have with the people that are there, so make the best of it, okay? Just keep in mind, I want you to practice mindfulness always. Like, you should always practice mindfulness. But one indulgent meal is not going to undo your progress. What truly matters is how you approach the days following what you just did. Are you going to drag it out for a week? Are you going to continue to eat leftovers and just say, well, it's the holiday season, so I could get away with this? Or are you going to keep your integrity, keep the word to yourself, and get back on track the next day? That's what matters. Okay, and one best ways to do that is by planning ahead, right? Have your meals ready the next day. When you plan ahead, whether that be the meals for the next day, you food prep beforehand so you have all that stuff ready and it's ready to go in the fridge, that would be a great step. But also planning ahead for the gathering too. Like, one of the best things you could do is actually bring a healthy dish to these gatherings, because at least then that there's an option you could fall back on, right? You brought it. One of my favorite things that I like to bring are big raw vegetable platters with like a low-calorie dip, like tzatziki. Even some hummus, like black bean hummus, is actually pretty low in calories. Baba ganoush, I just love saying that, but it's still low in calories. So tzatziki, baba ganoush, black bean hummus, those are really low calorie dips that you could bring with vegetables, and worst case scenario, you fall back on that. So planning ahead, not just for the days after the holiday, but actually for the holiday itself, is going to do you justice. It's like, what's that saying? If you fail to prepare, then you're preparing to fail. That's sort of what this is. It's the same concept here. So you could plan ahead for that day, tell your family, hey, like, I'm going to bring this over there. Don't worry about buying that stuff. I got it. Even if you make like a healthy charcuterie board, charcuterie is a huge thing right now. And trust me, I love me some charcuterie, but you could make it calorie friendly. So go and have fun and make it, and then bring it and have people enjoy the food with you. One of my biggest things with my clients this year is I'm asking them, what are you doing for the holiday to make sure that you enjoy it, right? But it doesn't set you back in terms of progress, or it doesn't make you feel guilty or shame. And I'm going to say the majority of them are doing a strategy that we normally do on like event days, or like wedding days or girls' night out or whatever it is, some big event for the day. they're all going to do protein modified fasts. Now, I agree with this. I think this is a really good strategy because it ensures that you hit your protein and it banks some calories for the big meal. And you're banking the protein, you're banking the carbohydrate and the fat calories for that big meal. So how it works is basically any meal that you have before and after the Thanksgiving feast that you're not going to be somewhere eating, or it's not the event, you're going to eat something that has lean protein and vegetables. So just as an example, if you wake up in the morning, you're pretty hungry, have some egg whites with broccoli and spinach. Let's just say you're meeting everyone for Thanksgiving dinner around like 3 o'clock. Okay, well, now it's noon and you're pretty hungry. Well, you're going to grill some chicken or have some grilled chicken and throw it over some cooked spinach, right? Throw some mustard on it, maybe some onion powder, some garlic powder, whatever. But that's going to be your meals, right? And then when you're done, after Thanksgiving, you're not going to bring home any of the leftovers. Send them home with everybody else. And if you get hungry, which you probably won't, but if you do get hungry, maybe you have a protein shake at night, right? So what we're doing is we're prioritizing protein, we're prioritizing vegetables, and that not only will help you stay satiated, especially throughout the day, but it's also making sure that you're hitting your protein intake for the day, which is obviously going to be key. But you're not taking in any carbs or fats, right? Because you're sticking with leaner proteins too. So the fat content's going to be low, which means you're saving a decent amount of calories for you to be able to enjoy whatever you want at Thanksgiving dinner. And that's the key. We want you to keep that quality of life when you're having dinner with your family. So I think that this is a very simple but very effective way to help you enjoy the holiday without feeling like you overdid it or that you overindulged and you threw yourself off track too much. Okay? So this was a little bit of a quicker episode, but I feel like it's perfect time to give you a nice full arsenal of tips to help you navigate this holiday with some confidence. Okay? Just always keep in mind, I'm going to keep going back to this. Remember that the holidays are meant to be celebrated and not stressed over, and you should have a great time with the people that you're celebrating with. Okay? So from Balanced Bodies, from myself, from Dr. Eryn, we are wishing you and your loved ones a very happy Thanksgiving. And as always, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. So on behalf of Balanced Bodies, we just want to say thank you for joining us on this episode of the Balanced Bodies Blueprint.
We are committed to bringing valuable content. And if you enjoyed today's episode, we'd greatly appreciate it if you can take a moment and like it and leave a 5-star review.
On Apple, just go to the show, scroll down to the bottom and rate it there. If you're on Spotify, go to the show's page, click the 3 dots, and you can rate it there as well.
And if you believe in the power of knowledge, share this episode on your social media to try and get the information out there to as many people as possible.
And as you navigate your own path towards better health, remember that Balanced Bodies is forever in your corner. See you all next week.
The podcast content may include discussions of medical topics and health-related information. However, the information provided should not be considered exhaustive or complete, and it should not be relied upon as a substitute for professional medical advice or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare providers with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment.